Alright guys, Lord of Chaos here, and today we'll be covering a guide for Recoleta, the new ultimate DPS coming to Reverse 1999 in 2.6. Recoleta is an author stroke poet that is of supernatural origins, being that she literally sprung to life from a book, making her a depiction of when fiction meets reality. Now, with a genesis such as this, you would expect her capabilities as a unit to be out of this world, and that is precisely what you will be getting with Recoleta should you decide to pull for her. She is so good, in fact, that by all measures she is classified as a top 3 DPS and instantly dethroned the previous top ultimate DPS for the number 1 slot. After, I might add, this character having a mere 2 weeks at the top. Bluepock really said, out with the old and in with the new in such a ridiculously callous fashion. I would hope that you all take a moment of silence with me to mourn our beautiful wheelchaired friend, Neil. R.I.P. Neil. Okay, so with that out the way, I would firstly like to cover the do's and don'ts for Recoleta, and then we can move on to getting down to the nitty-gritty with understanding the mechanics of our kit, and then lastly we will finish off with watching some film and breaking it down to ensure the lessons brought about within the video stick. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description of the video if there is a particular part in the video you would like to discover more about this character in a hurry. Otherwise, sit back and relax and try to take on board as much as you can about this awesome mineral reality ultimate DPS character. Now, let's quickly cover the terms which you may have noticed on the previous pages and give an explanation for them so that we can move forwards with the knowledge to understand how Recoleta is intended to be used and the best practices, do's and don'ts to make the most out of the kit that Reverse 1999 has so kindly provided for us. So Monomythic Narrative is an ultimate buff that Recoleta can stack by using her S2 and when allies use their single target ultimates. When Recoleta uses her ultimate, she will gain 50% reality damage for each stack of monomythic she has above her head. It will be the icon with the piercing motion, giving a clear indicator that these are gained via single target actions, be they using her S2 on only one available enemy, or by using a single target ally ultimate such as Melania's or Medicine Pockets, for example. Monomythic Narrative can stack up to 20 times, giving a total buff possibility of 1000% reality damage to her ultimate at 20 stacks. In addition to her 450% base ultimate damage, along with the 450% reality damage to the selected enemy, this gives Recoleta 1900% reality damage for the main target attacked on her ultimate at P0, which completely blows out an Andro Nala P5 special with 7 negative stats on the enemy for comparison. Next up is Ensemble Narrative, and this too is an ultimate buff which will give an additional 25% reality damage for each stack Recoleta has over her head before executing her ultimate. Ensemble narratives are stacked by using Recoleta's S2 on multiple enemies or by using an ally AoE special such as Shamane's or Jessica's. Ensemble narrative will be the icon that has a sword slashing motion, indicating these can be gained from AoE actions. As we can stack up to 20 of these, the max buff to ultimate we can add is 500%, bringing the base ultimate up to 950% AoE reality damage. Therefore, if we max out both of Recoleta's ultimate buffs, we can execute an ultimate that will do 2400% reality damage on the main target and 950% reality damage to any non-selected targets, making this one of the most powerful ultimates in the game, even without counting for the additional ultimate might buffs that can be gained for Moxie hoarding, which would add an additional 30% ultimate might when maxed out. Oh, and did I forget to mention that her ultimate at Resonance 10 will crit 2 out of 3 times? Next, we have Passion Drain, and this is a next status that will be applied to a selected enemy after using Recoleta's S1 on it. Any attack that targets this enemy whilst they have this icon above their head will gain the attacker 1 Moxie and deplete 1 stack of Passion Drain from this enemy. This makes Recoleta's S1 useful for funneling Moxie to the team more rapidly and also to herself when needs be. After using an ultimate, if Recoleta has met the conditions of having at least 10 stacks of monomythic or ensemble narrative, she will gain 1 stack of preparation Recoleta, which will generate a precast incantation called Flood of Fiction, which will be delivered at the start of the next turn. This can be increased to 2 stacks at P1 and with 20 stacks of monomythic or ensemble narrative or 10 of each of these ultimate buffs. We will go into more depth about the benefits of this in the theory crafting section of the video, so stay tuned. Lastly, the Flood of Fiction card costs no AP upon use and will execute the character with the highest Moxie's ultimate, burning all their current Moxie and replenishing it after the ultimate is complete. The Flood of Fiction card is to the left of the screen as shown. Alright guys, we're just on Prydwen's page. I just want to point out some of the errors you need to consider when it comes to Recoleta's kit in order that you don't get a false perception of what she's actually capable of, okay guys? So the first thing I wanted to point out is down here under Insight 3, it says after casting an ultimate for every 10 stacks of monomythic narrative and ensemble narrative consumed, gain 1 stack of preparation Recoleta. Now, this is incorrect. It's actually after casting an ultimate for every 10 stacks of monomythic narrative or ensemble narrative consumed, gain 1 stack of preparation Recoleta. I know all we're changing is the wording on "and," but it makes a very big difference, especially when it comes to Recoleta's P1, which will allow you to get 2 stacks of preparation Recoleta. That's why I wanted to highlight this, as later in the theory crafting section of the video, I'm going to show you some interesting stuff that you can do with Recoleta that most people are probably not going to be hip to, because they think that you need 10 stacks of monomythic and ensemble, which is a lot more difficult to get, even though it only sounds like 10 stacks. But this is a lot more difficult to do than to actually get just 10 stacks of monomythic or 10 stacks of ensemble narrative. Because remember, when it comes to our S2, you can get 5 stacks of monomythic or 5 stacks of ensemble every single S2 that you use. Otherwise, you need to use a special from one of your allies, and whether it be a AoE special, you'll get ensemble, or whether it's a single target special, you'll be able to get monomythic. I hope you understand why it might potentially be a problem when it comes to the wording here where you need monomythic and ensemble, why I've highlighted this, especially when it comes to P1, for example. Okay, guys, I've put a table on the next slide, so have a look over it and it will show you exactly what will activate the preparation Recoleta. Okay, next, the other thing I also noticed is down here at portrait level 4, it says metaphysical conceit, which relates to her S1, which is incorrect. It is S2 they wanted to put in there, which is a literary imagery. I'm so terrible at pronunciation, guys. Literary imagery. All right, literary imagery. Okay, guys. So that is what will be changed on level 4 of a portrait, and that will increase the reality damage on that particular attack. And it will also grant monomorphic narrative and ensemble narrative, taking it from 5 stacks per S2 to 10 stacks. Now, if you actually took this as it is right now on Prydwen's website, it would imply that the S1 would now start giving you a monomorphic and ensemble, which it wouldn't, which would make this pretty much ridiculously OP, because it would also give you the passion drain, and on top of that, it would be giving you the monomorphic and the ensemble. So just between me, you, and the other 10 people have probably got to this part of the video, we can just laugh at the fact that there's going to be some people screenshotting this and just putting it into their guide, because they clearly don't do their homework and clearly don't understand the character or what they're talking about. Otherwise, they would have been able to notice this at a glance. Okay, guys. So I just wanted to put this section in the video just to make sure that that don't always take these the information on these pages 100% to be true, because there will be translation errors along the way, and you definitely need to test out the character in order to make sure that you're understanding the limitation for the character. For example, okay, based on this wording, it would imply that if you had 5 stacks of monomorphic and 5 stacks of ensemble narrative, you'd be able to get 1 stack of preparation Recoleta. This is actually incorrect. I've done a number of tests on Recoleta, and it will not give you the preparation Recoleta, despite the fact that it says for every 10 total stacks. In order to actually activate you gaining the preparation Recoleta, and then on the next turn getting that flood of fiction card, okay guys, you will actually need 10 total stacks of monomorphic or ensemble narrative. And then in the instance where you want to activate her P1 and get the 2 stacks of preparation Recoleta, you'll actually need 20 stacks of monomorphic narrative or 20 stacks of ensemble narrative. Otherwise, you can also activate her P1 in that instance with 10 stacks of monomorphic narrative and 10 stacks of ensemble narrative. Okay, guys. So that's the lowdown on the mistakes on Prydwen's page, and just giving you that little bit of information and clarification around her kit, so you can get a better idea of what the limitations of Recoleta are. So here's a visualization of what I was explaining to you in the previous section as to why you might get a misunderstanding of how exactly you can get preparation Recoleta stat based on the information that is currently available online. Now, with this table, you can see what criteria needs to be reached in order to get 1 stack, and for you guys who are going for P1, you'll be able to see what criteria needs to be met in order to get 2 stacks. For you guys who are only aiming for P0, everywhere you see 2 stacks, you will essentially get only 1 stack. Okay, guys? So bear this information in mind for the guys who are going for P1, as we'll be able to show you some advanced strategies later on in the video, and that's why it's very important you understand the limitations of Recoleta's kit in order to understand the true potential of it. So now we're going to break down some film, just covering some footage that we've done with regards to the Recoleta team alongside Melania, Shamane, and Medicine Pocket. If you recall, at the beginning of the video, there was a bit of foreshadowing done there. If you're a big One Piece fan, much like I am myself. We did a bit of foreshadowing of this team, and now you can see a clip showing how we can use Recoleta and all that we've learned thus far in the video in order to get 2 stacks of Flood of Fiction by turn 3. Okay guys, as you saw on turn 1, we took advantage of the free Flood of Fiction we get on turn 1 in order to use Melania special, as she has 5 stacks of Moxie at the beginning of the battle, allowing us to use 2 Melania specials back to back, thus giving Recoleta 10 stacks of monomythic narrative right off the bat, so that we can go into turn 2 with on this particular battle, seeing as it's multiple enemies, we can go straight into turn 2 with 10 stacks of monomythic narrative, along with 5 stacks of ensemble narrative. And if we use the S2 again, then bang, we've got the enough stacks of monomythic and ensemble ready in order to use Recoleta's special and get those 2 stacks of Flood of Fiction in time for turn 3. Okay guys, so this is a really nice rotation you can use alongside this team to get relatively easy stages cleared in a hurry for much more difficult content due to the nature of all the randomness with Moxie funneling, for example, from Shamane, etc., etc. It is probably best to play it by ear as opposed to having a very strict rotation to follow. We will now be covering Recoleta's Portrays, and right off the bat, I would say Recoleta's P1 is a great portrait, adding additional damage, defensive, or utility capabilities to your rotations, depending on how you choose to channel the team's Moxies to take advantage of the unique mechanics of the Flood of Fiction card. Next up is an ultimate buff increase, which sees the monomythic narrative going up by 50% and the ensemble narrative going up by 40% per stack from their base stats of 50 and 25% respectively. This will raise the damage ceiling on Recoleta's ultimate from 2400% up by 400% to 2800% on the selected target, and raise the damage on non-selected enemies up from 950% up 200% to 1150% reality damage per target. So that's 1150% reality damage per target on the AoE enemies, and that's 2800% damage on your selected target now once you acquire Recoleta's P2. Okay guys, next, the third portrait is a base stat increase to Recoleta's ultimate that will see its base damage on selected target and non-selected targets go up by 100% for a modest 22.2% increase on her ultimate's core values. Okay guys, now at portrait 4, Recoleta becomes an absolute monster. And I mean monster. And she completely forgets who she is and starts misbehaving as if she is Winsong. Due to the fact that this portrait halves the amount of S2s needed to gain preparation Recoleta, it opens up a completely new play style and teams for Recoleta, such that when she is used with AP plus characters such as Flutterpage, Aleph, and the soon-to-be released character Moldir, she can essentially start seriously stacking Flood of Fiction cards to distribute ultis to the team or to be used by herself. To understand how ridiculous things can get, we are talking 8 to 10 plus ultimate stack bursts per turn when the strat is executed correctly, which is absolutely bananas, making Recoleta behave like she studied at the same dojo as Winsong. Not to be outdone, however, By the doubling of the narrative stacks gained from S2's usage, Recoleta's P4 will also give a modest bump to her S2 face card reality damage value of 25%, taking a 1-star incantation, for example, from 120% up to 150%. And on the other cards, she'll be increasing by 25% as well. Okay, guys. So that's on the incantation 2-star, she'll go up from 150% to 180%, and on a 3-star incantation, she'll go from 300% to 375%. Okay, guys. So P4 is essentially a whale's wet dream if they have the other continuous action characters. However, as you can tell, the cost of turning Recoleta into Windsong is truly astonishing at roughly $4,620 worst case scenario. So it's a very nice thing to have if you've got it. However, it's totally not necessary. Okay, guys. And lastly, her P5 is another ultimate increase that will raise Recoleta's ultimate by a further 100% or by 18.18% over her P3 increases that we got for the ultimate. And it will also grant the additional benefit of increasing the ultimate might, giving her special, instead of you're getting 3% ultimate might per Moxie stack, you'll be getting 6% ultimate might per Moxie spent. So you're effectively doubling or gaining a 100% ultimate might increase from your special, which is absolutely astonishing, guys. Like, her P5 is absolutely crazy. Like, her P4 is bananas, and her P5 just takes it into, you know, a completely different league. Okay, guys. So she can now move up from 15% ultimate might to 30% ultimate might. Okay, guys. So when she gets a doubling effect, once you consume 5 additional Moxie over the 5 Moxie that you need to use in order to use your ultimate, you'll gain the doubling effect. So when you factor in the 36% that you'll be getting from her Psychube buff based on the Moxie she'll have if you max out her Moxie, so you'll get 10 Moxie from just her base Moxie that she can hold, and then you can gain an additional 5 Moxie from Melania's Euphoria. Okay, guys. So that will be a 36% ultimate might buff that you'll be able to get from her Psychube, along with 30% that you'll be able to get from her ultimate, along with 20% that you'll be able to get from her Resonance R15. And lastly, with the Melania Euphoria buff of 72%, essentially when you activate this element of her ultimate, you'll be able to add an additional 316% ultimate might buff to this attack, which is, I'm speechless, to be honest with you guys. It's absolutely crazy. Like, come on, man. 316% ultimate might on top of all the things that you're getting from P1 to P4. It's, you know, I don't know about you, but, you know, Recoleta is absolutely nuts at P5. She is absolutely nuts. And if you have the continuous action characters to fit around her, we could see some really crazy things happening inside of Main's Bulletin. As for my recommendations, if you squint your eyes, you'll be able to see a hint as to what portraits I think you should go for. Now we are finally up to the resonance pattern, and I've opted for a mainly crit rate and crit damage build, whilst bringing along the elucidation piece to ensure we are getting additional ultimate might at 10% at resonance 10. Crit rate is just shy of 80%, as is shown on the left hand of the internal boxes. And crit damage when battle starts sits at just under 190%. This is completely comparable to other DPS heavy hitters. Lastly, feel free to find the pattern code in the description box of the video. When it comes to Psychube recommendations, I highly suggest her best in slot Psychube final roll, as it is a Psychube worth maxing out with Gluttony, and I know as a free-to-play player how difficult it is to get materials to level up your Psychubes, as polarization, be they LF, MF, or HF, are absolutely ridiculous to get a hold of, and I know when the alarm sounds is beginning to help, but it is nowhere near enough. Personally, I think that 5-star Psychubes should not need polarization to level, as it is a premium currency, but that is a topic for another video. Recoleta's best in slot can give a 16% crit rate, which is absolutely great with our resonance build, and upwards of 24% crit damage when the necessary conditions are met. Now, her second best Psychube is Neon Psychube due to the great ultimate might stats along with the base stats on the Psychube, but the passive will not proc, as Recoleta is not a plant unit, which is an absolute downer. Personally, I would not level this Psychube unless you already have done it. You can make do with Balance Please, X's Psychube, until you're ready to level up her best in slot. So all the best, guys. Next up is the team builds. The team building section of this video will be dropped in another video, as I just can't do justice to this section of the video as I had planned to do in-depth analysis of the teams, rotation, talk about the synergies, pros and cons, and limitations. However, the CN whale account I was going to use to get the necessary clips to make this section was lacking the necessary dust, sharpodonty, and most importantly, crystal caskets in order to create the simulations I had wanted to gather data from. I take pride in what I do, and I just can't play something willy-nilly just to have it. So I would rather leave it out and wait till I get myself Recoleta, as my global account is stacked, and I can release a piece of content that I can be proud of. I hope you guys understand. So I'll be releasing a whole video covering team building for Recoleta as a follow-up. If this is something that you would be interested in and you're not already subscribed to the channel, then you know what you need to do. Next up is the should you pull section of the video, and then we will move on to the final section of the video. Just a little preview of what that Recoleta team building video is going to be on. We'll be covering the Barcarola team, the Pickles team, the Andronala team, and the Shamane team, and various other teams. Okay, guys. So next up is the should you pull section. So we are almost at the finish line. We have taken a wonderful journey thus far, and I have only one more slide up my sleeve. But before we get there, I need to express my honest opinions on Recoleta and whether I believe her to be a pull or not. Before I start, I would just like to say I am a day one reverse 1999 player, and I have been making videos here and there since November 2023. Now, the TLDR as to whether Recoleta is a pull or not is pretty much obvious to those who have already been long-time subscribers of the channel, as they already know the answer to this question. The mere existence of this video is my recommendation. To put it in perspective for you, I've only ever made 2 other videos about characters within this game, and it was for Campania and P0 Mercuria, both of which were characters the community was underestimating, so I made my cases for both. Both videos advocated for them, and both characters I pulled for. Are you noticing the pattern now? I am incredibly biased towards this character, as essentially after 2 years of playing the game, I decided to create an account on the CN server just to get this character. This character lived up to my expectations and exceeded them even at P0. And if you've been paying attention closely to this video, you will see that she gets even stronger at P1 when she is able to stack multiple copies of Flood and Fiction when she uses her ultimate, and then she can get even more powerful in her later portraits. This is what makes Recoleta an absolutely insane character and one that I have high aspirations for. That's why personally I opened my CN server account in the first place. And I built an account off the back of this character. Therefore, if you are new to Reverse 1999 and looking to get into it, I can say with my whole chest that she will treat you well if you pull for her. Side note, I have a speedrunning CM playlist on the channel. You should check it out for tips on how I built out my account with her. Alright, guys? So check that out if you need a little bit of help on how you can build an account from scratch. Now, everything in the world is about yin and yang. And to all the viewers who are looking to bet the house on Recoleta, after all this glazing I've been doing, I'd like to highlight these areas to think about. It seems to be that Blue Pog really likes the Ultimate Archetype at the moment, as they are releasing various characters fast, unlike Bullet, such as Elizabeth, Name Day, Mulder, and this gives me the impression that this will be a new archetype that will have a roster that can rival follow-up attack archetype meta. Therefore, Recoleta's prominence might be called into question in future patches with other ultimate DPSs that come along. One glaringly obvious red flag is the fact that most of the key ultimate characters at the moment are all beast deflators. We have Melania, Shamane, Medicine Pocket, and also Mulder, who also is a beast character. And the one mineral ultimate character that they have released so far, Name Day, is kind of so-so. And the red flag wasn't a pun. So, I wonder, is there an ultimate beast DPS on the cards for future patches? If so, will they replace Recoleta? I am also cognizant of the fact that Buddy Fairchild, a 5-star, is currently the best plant DPS, and we are due a plant limited character in 3.1. Now, plant has been lacking in DPS character for quite some time, and it is my belief if a 5-star is getting all the buzz at the moment, then a 6-star needs to take its place. I was of the opinion that the 3.1 limited would be a tank or a sustain, as it would be a plant character. However, with the Buddy Buzz, I get the feeling a DPS character is in the works, and seeing as Ultimate is Blue Pog's new shiny toy, there's also a high chance we could be getting an Ultimate limited DPS character up next. This is also something to consider. If you're wondering why I keep harping on about the fact that the next limited character is going to be Plant, feel free to take a look at all the limited characters we've had thus far and the afflatuses they are. And maybe you'll see why I feel that way. Alright guys, thanks for watching the video through to the end. Any feedback, as this is my first guide in full, drop it down in the comment section. I'll get back to it as soon as I can. Remember to always be respectful when it comes to feedback. When it comes to Recoleta, I wish you all the best with your pulls. She's definitely going to be a great unit for your roster. I have her on my CN account already, and I can attest to that. So all the best with your pulls, guys. I will be live on Thursday once the patch drops, and I'll do my pulls as well. And hopefully she comes on home for a player early. You know what I mean? I don't want to be spending too many pulls, and especially after the luck I've just had with the Liang Yu scam banner. I could, use an early win. Free to play God needs to get back on top, okay? So, yeah, this project was pretty nice. I really enjoyed making a guide. It helped me think more about how to approach video making in future, the sort of tools I want to use in future, and sort of skills I want to learn in order to improve upon my videos. So it was really nice to take on this little project, and as it definitely helped me think differently about video creation. So it's going to be a learning process. There's going to be some teething issues whilst I work out my style, but eventually, you know how it is, we'll eventually get to the finish line. All right, guys. So I appreciate all your support, guys. We're heading towards 4K subscribers, so that's great. If you're not a subscriber yet, feel free to get on down there, hit the like button, and hit the subscribe button, and leave us a comment if you like the video. Okay, guys. And yeah, feel free to join our Twitch. We'll be live on Thursday, and as soon as 2.6 drops, we're gonna get busy. All right, guys. Thanks once again for watching the video. I wish you all the best. Hope you all have a good day. Peace, love, and blessings. Lord of Chaos out.
ありがとうございます。